Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Juan Solo here with ASQD Gaming, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in today for some more Metro Exodus. So in today's video, we're actually going to be going down through all of the 4 major regions that we're going to be playing through in Metro Exodus, as well as the corresponding seasons that are going to be tied to those individual regions. We're also going to be briefly talking about how you're going to be getting from region to region. It doesn't just exactly jump from region to region. There are some things in between there that kind of tie everything together so that it feels like a smooth transition throughout the entire storyline of the game with the narrative and everything. But we're going to be starting things off in the Moscow region, which is going to be in the winter. So this is where the game picks up, and you're going to be basically going through doing quests, finding materials and all sorts of stuff, and you're eventually going to find yourself trying to locate the Aurora. So the Aurora is actually the in-game train that you're going to be using to traverse the entire map through the entire storyline of Metro Exodus, and this is going to be sort of like your mobile safe house. You're going to be improving it along the way, and this is where all of the survivors and stuff that are in your group are all going to be staying throughout the story of Metro Exodus. So that's exactly how the story is going to begin, and then we're going to be moving on to the spring season, which is sort of a flat land, and it's going to be dominated mostly by the winter time at the very start when you enter the region, but it's still going to transverse into spring very shortly once you reach this area, and it's going to begin to warm. The sunlight's going to melt the ice and snow, and it's become more of a wetland region, and this basically centers on a lift bridge that must be lowered for the armored train to continue on to the next region. And this is going to take several quests, several missions. You're going to have to explore the area. You're going to have to find loot, upgrade your weapons and everything so you can take down all of the creatures and bandits and inhabitants of this region to be able to go through and traverse to the following region. So some notable elements of this actual region is going to include a port, train depot, and some old buildings and a church surrounded by a bunch of like a train yard, and obviously with all of the different train cars and buildings and the wide open environment and stuff like that. But those are some of the main points, and it's surrounded by wetlands and stuff, especially after you get into this region and all the snow and stuff starts to melt, and it's going to become more of a wetland region rather than a snowy, icy region that's going to happen right at the start of this exact location. Now, moving on to the next location, we're going to be moving into the summer season, and this is going to be a desert area near a dried out sea. So what this is going to entail is a lot more bandits and a lot less, I guess you could say, creatures, unless you go underground. So that's a notable element here, guys. All of these locations, whether that be winter, spring, summer, autumn, all of these locations are going to feature a number of underground areas that's going to kind of bring you back to the roots of the Metro series, that real tight, close quarters, you know, that claustrophobic feel of the Metro series is going to be there in every single one of these regions, because each individual season is going to have its own sort of underground feel to it, depending on which region you're in and what season you're in and everything. But for the most part, in the summer region, this is going to be the largest of the 4 regions that we're going to be playing as, and this is basically a giant, wide open kind of graveyard with oil pipelines run along vast stretches of the land. There's some rusted cargo ships and submarines and stuff that litter around there with obviously being right up against the sea. And this is actually the first time we are ever going to be seeing it in the Metro series. You're actually going to have a usable vehicle that you're going to be able to use to kind of transverse around this map because it is that large. And from what I've heard from most of the people that have played this game with game testing and other things, they're saying that this vehicle does feel very smooth, very responsive. It doesn't have clunky controls or anything like that, and it is so satisfying running over your enemies and plastering them all over the windshield and stuff like that. And being something like this that is brand new to the Metro franchise, that's one thing that you would almost have to worry about, is are they going to nail down the controls? Is it going to be feeling smooth and, you know, everything with that, the controls? They've done a very good job from what I've heard so far from people that have already had the chance to get their hands on the game at different test events and stuff, so that is a good sign. And then also with that, in all of the regions, you're going to have some sort of a dynamic weather element to deal with when it comes to like your gas mask. Obviously in several areas you're going to have the radioactive gas and stuff like that, but in the desert region you're actually going to have sandstorms that are going to be whipping up through the area. Nighttime, daytime, doesn't matter, and this is where it's going to require you to put on your gas mask so that your player doesn't suffocate and die. And then obviously when you do that, it's going to limit your visibility with the sandstorm as well as having your mask on, so it's really going to kind of intensify all of the situations that you're going to be in that region when you're going up against bandits, when you're going up against different creatures and stuff. And that's just going to make this game so much more fun with all of the cool stuff that's going to be in the summer desert region. Now moving on to the final region, we are going to be in the autumn region, which is going to be the region we actually saw in the 2017 reveal of Metro Exodus, where you kind of open that gate and you come out to this giant sprawling area, whatever, and you can see a bunch of like the fall leaves and all that good stuff. So it's basically a gorgeous mountainous riverside valley that features many elevation changes and a complex system of caves to explore as well in that region. So there's going to be kind of like your underground kind of throwback to the original Metro games. Is just a bunch of different cave systems where you're going to be able to go in, make sure that you kind of disable all of the traps that could possibly be in there, booby traps, find a bunch of cool loot, take on a bunch of cool creatures and all sorts of cool stuff in those caves, as well as you're going to be running across the Children of the Forest. So this is one of the NPC clans, I guess you could call them, that's going to be in the game, and this is in the Autumn region. So basically what this is a bunch of children that was at like a summer camp, and after the nuclear bombs and stuff fell, nobody came back to get them, and they kind of formed up a group where they are not friendly to outsiders, no matter who they are, whether it be creatures, other people, anything like that. So this is going to be a hostile group of people that you're going to want to take very, very seriously because they are well armed. And the best way I could describe how they're set up is similar to how like the Ewoks in Star Wars were. So it's basically a number of wooden fortresses and tree houses with rope bridges and wood bridges and stuff that are kind of going between all of these tree forts and stuff like that, as well as a big marshland and a dam that's going to be kind of in this area. So it's going to be a unique environment, not the largest environment, probably one of the most beautiful environments that we're going to be seeing in Metro Exodus. And then also with all of this, guys, it's going to be smooth transitions and stuff between these. So, and with all of these different environments and all these different regions and stuff like that, it's a large sandbox environment, but they're also going to be tied together by linear underground sections to kind of preserve the progression of the game. And this basically, the developers are referring to this kind of like a sandbox survival, and it's not fully open world because obviously you have 4 different large regions that are very kind of different from each other, but as well as you're going to have all these little like hints back towards the original Metro series that's going to be tying all of this open world and stuff together, as well as if you want to compare size, the largest areas of Metro Last Light capped out at about 200 by 100 meters, while the regions of Metro Exodus stretch up to 2 square kilometers in like the desert region, and most of the other regions are very similar in size. They're not quite that large, but the desert region is the largest, and for the most part you have 4 of these giant wide open sandbox open worlds that are kind of all tied together with some of these throwbacks to the Metro series with the tight underground claustrophobic, you know, corridors and stuff like that, which is going to be really fun. I cannot wait to play through this game. But for the most part, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for the video. I just wanted to go down through here, break down all of the different regions and seasons and how everything was going to work with the map so that you guys were completely aware of how this was all going to be working, because I saw a lot of people talking about, you know, was this an open world game? Was it more linear? Was it more like the old games? Was this a brand new feel to it? I tried to explain it as best as I could in this video, but for the most part, guys, like I said, that's all for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, you guys found it helpful, you guys learned something, make sure to drop a like on the video. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all things with Metro Exodus moving forward. But overall, guys, like I said, that's all for the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.